Please welcome Vivian Glyck.
So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into a story that I haven't really shared publicly before. And it all started out one day here in San Diego, July, almost exactly 14 years ago. And I walked into a high-risk pregnancy specialist's office, and I had to pee so badly because they had insisted that I drink 6 glasses of water before I come because they were going to do a trans-abdominal ultrasound and my bladder had to be full. And I said, that's ridiculous. The fetus is too small. I know the doctor said that they were going to do a vaginal ultrasound. They're like, no, honey, you're wrong. You have to be full of all this water. So I come in, I'm feeling really irritated and annoyed, and I go up to the front desk and they're like, hi, are you okay, honey? Here are 10 pages of forms that you need to fill out while you're waiting for the doctor. And I'm like, oh, and I take the forms, I'm sitting down, rocking back and forth, having to pee. And of course, finally, the office manager comes out from behind the desk and whispers in my ear and says, and everybody in the room leans forward to hear her. And she says, you're right, you're having a vaginal ultrasound. You can go and pee now. So for those of you who don't know what is required with a vaginal ultrasound, just think wand. There's a wand connected with it that, as Mike says, doesn't vibrate. So we'll fast forward to that in a minute. So I get up and down for 30 minutes, going to the bathroom, coming back. Finally, the doctor comes and they lead me into an examination room, and it's really dark in there. And there's a big screen up on the wall and an exam table, and I clamber onto the exam table and I'm having small talk while this vaginal ultrasound is starting, thinking I'm very cool to be so laid back about it. And all of a sudden, on the screen, there appears what looks like a pretty unformed fetus. It's like a little head, a little body. And I think to myself, oh my gosh, this is going to happen this time. And the doctor and I are looking up there in a bit of wonder, and we kind of both realize at the same time. And she says to me, I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat. And I immediately went to the place that I've gone to my entire life, which is, don't you take care of me, I'll take care of you, taking care of me, I'm okay here, let me get myself together. I got myself dressed, I stumbled out into the hot July day, and I got into my car, and I was so grateful it was so hot in there because it just brought me back into the present moment. And I thought to myself, this is the second time in 2 years that I will be having a miscarriage as we enter the 4th of July. What do I do now? What is the next right thing for me? And during the ensuing couple of months where, emotionally and hormonally, I was just in a tumult. Should we adopt a baby? Should we try to have another baby? Should I do IVF? Poor Mike is trying to take care of me, dealing with his emotions about it. And the light that just kept coming up was 10,000 kids, 10,000 kids. And I was like, that's crazy. What are you talking about, 10,000 kids? And what had started to happen was that I was learning a lot of information. Like every year, 11 million children die of preventable diseases. And here I have this cute, adorable 2-year-old who I would do anything to keep alive. And I learned that 12 million children had been orphaned by the AIDS virus in Africa. Every 30 seconds, a baby was dying of a mosquito bite through malaria. I'm like, what the heck is going on? What can I do? Do I really need one more child? Can I make a difference by standing up? And I thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy to have this idea of picking up and going to Africa. And I kept waking up in the middle of the night and waking Mike up and going, I have to go. I'm hearing these babies cry from across the world. And finally he said, and I was like, but I don't know what to do when I get there. And finally he said, here, take a camera, go there, shoot a story, tell the world. And in God, in all of her greatness, swirled this invitation out of the cosmos to me to go to a small clinic in the middle of nowhere in Uganda, and there I went. And the very first night that I was in Uganda, I was in this clinic, in a guest house. It was steaming hot in there. You could only have the windows open a crack to keep the mosquitoes out. I was under an insecticide-treated bed net, and I heard this woman screaming all night long, freaking me out, hair on the back of my head standing up. And in the morning, the sisters brought us this little baby that they called baby Christina. And it turned out that the cries that we were hearing throughout the night were of Christina's grandmother watching her daughter, her 13-year-old daughter, die in childbirth. And I thought, oh, I've got a baby here. What's the next right thing? How can I do the next right thing? Well, I think for anybody, any one of us at that point, knowing that she was there with loving sisters and nuns, we paid for her baby formula for a year. It was maybe $400, and this is what the next right thing looks like a year later. Here's baby Christina, so fat and happy that after a year, she hadn't really been put down on the ground because she was being held and walked around and loved so much that she had to work off some of those thighs, you know. So this is the theme of what I want to talk about today and what I want to bring you into, because I know that there's so many brilliant people here, and I've had the opportunity over the last couple of days to see that we're all in this place of re-evolution, as Mike talked about. And I believe that this could kind of be our mantra. Everyone thought I was crazy when I picked up and went to Africa because I was hearing babies cry in the middle of the night. And it all turned out better than I could have possibly imagined. And this is something that I think is something that we all want to give a try to here. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about where saying yes brought us. But I've become a bit of a woman on a mission to have people look into what it is that's calling them. There's so many people I talk to who are doing what they don't want to do because they don't know or they don't have the faith to do what they do want to do, so they just keep doing what they don't want to do. And as Mary Morrissey calls that, it's common thinking. And so what I'd like to do now is we're going to have an opportunity to do this, but I want to run through what I call my 5-question litmus test for what is the next right thing. And then I'm going to have us split up, and as Ariel said, everybody here likes to go knee to knee and to have a conversation. We're going to split up into teams and into find a partner, someone who is, as Sam says, geographically convenient, but not somebody who knows all of your ins and outs, so that they can give you a slightly better input. So all you married couples, you know what to do. So the 5-question litmus test, what I ask myself, and this comes up for me all the time now because I'm always on my next right thing, am I being led by love or pushed by fear? You know, what's really motivating me? Am I going back to the same old thing because I really don't trust that this voice that God is sending me is the right thing for me? Is there a voice that's calling you that you keep saying no to because it doesn't seem logical? Like you saw in the video, my parents are Holocaust survivors. When my mother found out that I wanted to go to the depths of Africa, you know, where she felt as though I wasn't going to be safe while I had this little baby at home, this was not logical at all. And listening to her with her concerns was not pleasant. Is God whispering in your ear and you'd rather not listen because it doesn't follow the rule? Same thing, a litmus test. And are you afraid of disappointing someone by walking away from something that no longer fits in your life? Can anybody relate to this? Show of hands. Yeah. Is there a shiny object that you are chasing? I don't think anybody in this room has ever chased a shiny object. What do you think? I mean, if you've never chased a shiny object, raise your hand. Yeah, nobody. So to avoid your next right thing.
This was something that came up at our dinner last night. But anyway, no, the fear that came up for me was fear of being swallowed up by such a big project at a time when I'm looking to have more free time. And if I take on this big project, which is transformation of education, it's like I'll just be swallowed up. So that's the fear.
Yeah, beautiful. I hear you. So these are great actually to lead into the next part of this, like where you just keep saying yes to the next right thing. You don't have to have it figured out. I mean, this was something I learned on the way. So when I got back from Uganda and I had watched this girl die, watched her mother taken away on the back of a motorcycle on a piece of board, but I started to see that there were things that we could actually do. And I got home and Ariel, my fairy godmother, said, people want to give you money. Why don't you start a bank account? And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. This is a really big thing. I don't want to start a foundation. She was like, too bad. Open a bank account. I got checks coming. And what I started to find out, looking a little bit more deeply, is there really was just dire need. Uganda is 163rd out of 180 of the poorest countries in the world. HIV/AIDS is the second cause of adolescent mortality, mostly because older men are infecting adolescent girls. 50% of the girls that we work with in the communities that we're in drop out of school before they reach 7th grade. And many of them are mothers. 40 to 50% marry before age 18. But they have 2 to 3 children by the time they're 18 years old. So this incredible resource that women and girls can be is basically washed away in childbearing. 77% of reported child abuse is rape against the girl child. But, as we know, when you elevate the feminine, wages rise by 20%. If a girl is allowed to stay in school, for every year she stays in school, she has one fewer child. And educated women reinvest 90% of their income into their family, while men reinvest 30 to 40%, maybe. If we really fully educated women, we could reduce the number of hungry people on the planet by 100 to 150 million. We're trying to figure out all these ways to solve the issues of the planet. And really, maybe what it just takes is keeping a girl in school. So everyone thought I was crazy when I decided to turn thank you, Uncle Brian, when I decided to have us turn all of our attention towards thinking about how could we empower girls? How could we transform their experience? So we stopped building schools, we stopped building structures, and we put the resources in the minds of the girls. And I won't go way into it, but we created a program called the Girl Power Project, which is a replicable curriculum of girls' empowerment that takes place over a 2-year period of time. We will have put 20,000 girls through this program by 2021, thanks very much to many of the people in this room. And we are set to scale. We are set to bring this to the rest of the world. And we also have data, we have scientific data and statistics that is proving the efficacy of the impact on changing the minds of girls, but communities. Because everybody asked me, what did you say? He says Texas A&M University sent a cohort of postgraduate students out to the field last year. We've had 2 rounds of data collection and statistical evaluation because, oh my gosh, he's giving me all this feedback. Okay, and he wants me to tell you that we will be academically published within the next 45 days, proving in academic journals about the efficacy of the Girl Power Project. Thanks, Daddy. So, but really quickly, what really matters is the kids, right? This is just like My Child Foundation. And some of the feedback we got from girls, these are all girls that were just like that girl who died the first night I got to Uganda. And because of the impact of this program and the elevation of the parents and the community, girls are able to transform their outcomes. I learned that every child has a right to live a violence-free life. Now I have a responsibility to advise other girls as they have advised me, which to me is the most precious thing, is to put compassion and action into the child. And this is, I mean, it's sort of sad, but it's what happened to that girl, right? Without girl power, I wouldn't have known that my body belongs to me. #MeToo, right? So our mission and our goal of the organization evolved into transforming the world one girl at a time. Did I ever think that day that I saw no heartbeat on that screen that we would be going this way? It was all about doing the next right thing. I didn't have a plan. I had a community. I had people like the people in this room who supported me and said, go, just keep going. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going, just go. So that next go ended up at the Clinton Global Initiative, where we made a commitment to reach 10,000 girls there. Just so everyone knows, he did not have his hand on my butt. It was very appropriate. We were called to Michelle Obama, the Office of the First Lady, to the White House to be part of her Let Girls Learn initiative when we made a commitment to reach another 10,000 girls. And every time this is happening, I'm like, I guess this is the next right thing. This is the next right thing. This is the next right thing. Get visibility, get platform for this. We don't have time. We don't have time. The planet needs this to happen right now. And then, of course, one of my next right things, I don't know if you can see my cute, adorable son up there, but he got into the family business as well. One of the next right things for me that was so important was to have him understand that he was living in a bubble in Southern California. And to really, so this is a second family for him. He raised money for his bar mitzvah to build a library, and it was a really transformational experience for him. Oh, look, there he is for his bar mitzvah in Israel. Yay, Zach! So I just want to show you just quickly now what saying yes, and which I know all of you have done. You are such an incredible transformational group. But to invite you to say next to the next right thing that's sitting inside you waiting to be birthed. This is what it looks like 10 years after the first saying yes. And I'm going to play this video. I'm hoping you can lower the lights a little bit.
Josephine.
Lydia Chen.
Novatan's Joan. My name is Namata Josephine. Just like my child found me, I was staying in my granny in the village. They were looking for people to sponsor. I was a very shy girl. I didn't have a clear picture of what I would do in the future. But when I joined this girl power project, I got a sense of love for myself. My self-dignity was improved.
I love to see girls control their lives, making them believe that what a boy can do, a girl can also do.
They brought me out, and I was given the opportunity, so I'm utilizing that opportunity. I'm among the lucky ones.
Some people came to pick on some people to pay for school fees, and I was lucky enough that I was among those people.
I didn't have much hope. I applied to Just Like My Child, asking them to see me through my university, and yeah, God was on my side.
My dad was so happy, because by then he was very sick, so he died knowing that I was in pain because my face was clearly pain.
If I had not gone to school, really, think life would be hard for me, and I think I would be there deep in the villages doing something else, not even about studies and academics.
There are very many other girls that have these problems. There's a certain girl at school, she did not get a chance to receive this training, she got through. I just feel if that girl maybe had received that information and maybe someone to put her up, maybe she would have been a better person.
They've been given that chance to go higher in school. It makes the girls themselves proud, hardworking, and it teaches them not only skills, exposure, because the schools that we are being taken to are really good schools with people from different cultures.
It was like an eye-opener to my life that I could do something with the help of Just Like My Child Foundation. I can compete with boys in academics. Yeah, even the previous term, for those that declined and I surpassed them, I'm a girl and proudly a girl. So now, yeah, I think I can do something better in life.
Because what I know, I have a bright future. I would like to be an accountant.
I particularly chose nursing because I love caring for people. The smile on their faces makes me feel good.
I really want to become a doctor, and I'm trying so hard in science subjects so that I get there, because I want to help other people and save other people's lives.
I think I can only make one commitment: mentoring other girls. That I'm so proud of it, and I'll do it as long as I live.
I have to help girls till my last breath.
Thank you. And I do want to just brag on these girls for a minute, because I've known these girls now for at least 12 years, and every one of them is now what they said they were going to be. The girl who said she's going to be an accountant, she's an accountant. The girl who said she was going to be a nurse is a nurse. The one who said she wants to go to medical school is in medical school now, and they're all our employees. So they're helping us, they're working with us. So my kids, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It was all from lack of a heartbeat, so I found some somewhere else. So I hope that you've started to germinate that next right thing. I know that there are so many of them here, but what I'd like to do now is give you an opportunity to, were you happy with your partner, or do you need to find another partner? Be honest. Be honest. Do you want to swap? I don't know. Did they do that here? Is that one of the things we need to learn about the history here? So what I want you to do is use this as a template. You know, everyone thought I was crazy when I blank. It all turned out better than I could have possibly imagined. So what I'm going to want you to do is get together with your partner and answer that question as though it was 2 years from today, right? You come back and you're like, oh my God, Jack, remember when we were at TLC 2 years ago and I told you that I wanted to blank, and everyone thought I was crazy, including me, but it all turned out better than I could have possibly imagined. And here are 3 things that happened as a result. And then, not to confuse you, because I know you're all brilliant, I also want you to, there's a little typo in here, so please forgive me. Have this conversation as though you're having it 2 years from now. And I also want you to identify 2 baby next right things you are going to do within the next 10 weeks to advance you in the direction. So I hope that this was useful for you. Was this fun? Great, thank you. Thank you so much. And I just want to wrap up by giving you a couple of things that I go to in terms of evaluating and that litmus test and staying on track. You know, of course, again, make sure you're being led by love rather than pushed by fear. Focus on what's driving your passion and embrace the excitement around it, and keep that mindset of curiosity alive, because it's when we get stuck in the how, which I get stuck in all the time, that the passion and the excitement drains out. And pay attention to what gives you energy. The energy is what's going to keep you going, right? It's like, pay attention to what's, you absolutely don't want to do, but that light that shines so brightly that is drawing you in and gives you energy. So I would love to hear more about your next right thing. Please come up and talk to me about it. And I'm a little bit obsessed with this idea because it's what keeps me going. And I thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.